Hi, it's Mike here, talking to you this evening about psychodrama. I'm a trainer in the Center for Psychodrama and Sociometry of Ontario, and I'd like to talk to you a bit. This will be one of several short videos explaining a little bit about the psychological approach known as psychodrama. Psychodrama is one of about 30 mainstream researched psychological modalities used in psychotherapy to help people in groups live better and happier lives. So let's get down to it. Psychodrama was a method devised by the Viennese psychiatrist Jacob Levi Moreno, who was born in actually Bucharest, Romania in 1889, emigrated to the United States in 1925. Now, Moreno saw very early on in his life, in fact, as a child, how people live lives through roles that they play, and the fluidity with which people go from role to role to meet the challenges of the moment is a measure of a person's mental health. Early on as a medical student in Vienna, he noticed how when children play, they entirely assume the roles they're playing, almost like they're leaving themselves behind and going into roles, fantastic roles, sometimes of dragons, of heroes, of monsters, of God. And somehow when we become adults, the societal constructs, the ideological, political, and social constraints that we live in prevent us transporting that spontaneity and creativity. So we get stuck. If you've ever seen the movie Titanic, you will understand what kinds of social constraints European society lived with at the turn of the 20th century. It was stifling. And the needs and challenges of the moment were not met because the societal constructs, or the cultural conserves, as Moreno termed them, prevented a genuine, spontaneous encounter with the environment. So people were frustrated. Moreno himself said, as did other researchers and authors, that the failure of European society to adapt to current circumstances led to the cascade of events which caused World War I. Moreno in the Austro-Hungarian Empire was very intimately affected by World War I. He led groups of people with schizophrenia, of women in the sex trade, of political prisoners and refugees in refugee camps in a new egalitarian way. Help them find their energy, their spark to live life on life's terms in the present, to embody and perfect and master new roles to survive with, leaving the old roles behind. And so in 1921 to 23, Moreno developed formally his theories into the practice called psychodrama, which has its own theories of developmental and abnormal psychology. Moreno was a counter-cultural rebel. Many people at the turn of the 20th century were tired of the old cultural conserves that restricted their functioning in society and were revolutionaries, Marxists, anarchists. Moreno was neither of those because he saw those ideologies as themselves restrictive. He advocated a new kind of relationship to each other formulated or founded on the I-thou encounter that Martin Buber, the German Jewish philosopher, had championed. So in future excerpts, videos, maybe I'd like to just take you through very briefly through some of the foundational theories that Moreno used to create psychodrama and how we can use them in today's day and age. Have a good night.